Good morning, everyone. Let's start.
Good morning.
Any doubts in yesterday or previous meeting?
I
Fine. So we discussed this thing. Okay. Now, what can happen is like you can have some rules from Panorama as well. Like if you talk about Panorama, uh, like I told you, it's a centralized management platform where multiple firewalls can be managed. Okay. Now, see, suppose if you open Panorama and you make some security policies there, okay, and also you can make some security policies locally on the firewall. Okay. Now, the question comes: how does it get properly managed? Like, if there is an overlap, and how do they merge together? As well as like, uh, what takes precedence, or how does it really work? Okay, because okay, we pushed some security policy from Panorama to firewall. Well, suppose we have a conflicting security policy which is here as well as here. Then is there any particular thing that takes more precedence? So for that thing, I'll tell you what we have here is like uh, I'll just show you from if I can. Hmm, not go much into it, but like I just want to clarify one thing which is very important because someday if you encounter Panorama, you will be confused with one little thing, which is not that difficult actually. This one, but let's still quickly check it. No, this one. Okay, yeah, yeah. Now see, what happens is in Panorama, when you go to the security policy page, there you'll find two types of rules. Okay, there will be pre-rules and post-rules. Okay, this is one thing I can find somewhere. I don't have Panorama in here right now. Anyways, leave it. I'll just explain to you. When you go into the security policy of Panorama, there are two kinds of rules that you create. There is pre-rule and there is post-rules. Okay. So what happens is once you push commit and suppose what happens is like you select a device group, like suppose let's say firewall A, firewall B, firewall C. Let's say if we have them in a device group, something VG1. If I push after making some security policies when in Panorama, if I push that to both of these firewalls, what happens is like uh, both of them will get these rules or policies from here. Okay. Now, how does this pre-rule and post-rule will fit in? Okay. So basically, there will be now if we consider policies wise, there will be three things. There will be some local rules on the firewall, and then there will be pre-rules and post-rules. So what happens is like all in all, once Panorama pushes the configuration to firewall A, the effective configuration or effective security policies would be like pre-rules first, then the local rules which were made directly on the firewall, and then there will be a post rule. Okay, so when you make security policy here, you have to mention whether it is a pre-rule or a post rule. Okay, because that way it takes its effect on the security policy uh, order. Are you getting my point? Like you see here, the document that I just opened. When you configure Panorama and configure a device group from there, you can have multiple device groups. Okay? The pre-rules go just at the top of the local rules in the firewall, and the post rules are going to go at the bottom of the local rules in the firewall. So what happens is like, I'll give you an example, like the resulting rule set would be something like pre-rules, local rules, post rules. Okay. Now, how does this help? Okay, and when should I create a pre-rule and when should I create a post-rule? Okay, because creating rules is quite similar. Like creating the security policy is actually all the options are same. Like it's not like even in Panorama, you'll find only all these options, same options. Okay, so when should I create a pre-rule and when should I create a post-rule? Suppose I want uh, to block maybe hacking websites, phishing websites, adult content websites, malware websites in my company. Now, if this requirement, definitely this requirement would be global. Like you don't want uh, any particular location across the world for company to allow adult content or hacking websites, right? So this kind of rule, if I want to block this thing, we create a pre-rule, okay, so that it takes precedence before the local rules. Are you getting my point? And now what happens is like suppose we have another set of rules which we don't want to interfere with local rules. If local rules have allowed that, then we can make those things like in the post rules. Okay, I'll give you another example. Like suppose uh, according to local regulations, okay, uh, people should have access or should not have access to something. Okay, then what you can do is you can create post rules. Okay, uh, and they'll be pushed to the firewall. But what happens is if the local like the device or the location, suppose maybe something is illegal in European countries, but it is perfectly legal in US. Okay, like I'll give you an example. Uh, this is applicable even to uh, decryption. Okay, or some other thing. How do I put this? Like um, another example would be like maybe European laws ban access to something in in workplace. Okay, whereas US laws allow, it's like from the cyber laws perspective, it's allowed to access in the workplace. Then what you can do is you can make a post rule to block it. But if the firewall admin locally present at, or if the firewall admin makes modification in the firewall located there, it will precede this post rule, so it won't take any effect. Okay, it will be kind of like rule shadowing. Okay, I hope you got like the basic idea, like what is a pre-rule, what is a post rule, what is a local rule. Okay, fine. Same thing they are explaining to you here. Okay, like in this document, it's a very nice document. I was, I think they have modified it a little bit. Like, see, and see, this has not changed from quite a lot. It's like all the same from four. Okay, so like this is what a device group is. Okay, you can put individual VCs into a device group. Okay, and create your own device groups according to the requirement. Okay, fine. So based on that, you might create like branch device group there. Okay, in which all the branch firewalls are, or maybe you create a edge device group. Okay, all the devices which are connected to the edge or internet, the end edge of your network, or you could create something like data center device group or like that. Okay, so once you select a device group and push configurations of pre-rule and post-rule, okay, I would say, like, if you want to, if you have Panorama in your environment, like give it a reading. Okay, so here they have given you the order of precedence. Like suppose in the Panorama, we create rules. Okay, some pre-rule, post-rule. What is going to be the effect of it? Okay, so they also discuss like from security policy rule set. See, this is something different here in security policy rule option of Panorama. Like you select individual device groups, okay, on which these rules should be, applicable. Okay. And see, this is what I was trying to show you. Like in the policies, there are simply two rule sets: pre-rule, post-rule. Even in NAT, QS, and many other things, almost I think all the policies, I don't remember for any specific which is not there. Like even for NAT, okay, and like I was giving you the example like decryption, okay, like European laws state that we should not decrypt content. Like decryption is also another policy. Yeah, like European laws state that we should not decrypt people's health-related websites and financial-related websites. But compared to that, US laws says if you want to decrypt, they don't prohibit anything like specifically using the cyber law. Okay. So what you could do is, for firewalls in US, you could maybe decrypt even health-related information. Okay, whereas in Europe you don't do that. So what happens is you create rules, like maybe post rules, to decrypt everything. Okay, but then locally you create a rule to bypass them. Okay, because the local rules will take precedence before the post rule. Okay. You can download this from here. Okay. So like I was telling you, If rule is pushed from Panorama, the rule is read only on firewall and cannot be edited locally. So, how you can organize your security policies in your company is like you could have a global SOC team. Okay, they define rules using Panorama. Okay, so then you could have locally, individually on each of these offices, some uh, local firewall administrators who can make these local rules. Okay, main thing is you should know the difference between like pre-rule, post-rule, and how it fits into the local rule. Okay, it's expected for even certification exam, and as well as you might get questions on interviews like, do you know what is pre-rule, what is post-rule? Okay. Uh, like I told you, this we discussed even yesterday. Override and revert action are applicable only to default rules. Okay. Rules can be reordered, like I showed you yesterday. We use drag and drop, or you could use move. Okay. Disabling of rule allows you to retain the entry while making it non-operative. Okay. Disabled rules will be displayed in italics. Okay. And I also discussed this thing. This is applicable again for all the firewalls. If you have unused rules or junk configuration, remove them. It will increase the firewall efficiency as well as simplify management. Okay. This also we discussed and saw yesterday that firewall tracks rules, unused rules since the last time data plane restarted. So you have those hit count thing there. Okay, like this firewall I just started, like I had powered off yesterday. So you can see the hit count has not been carried from yesterday. This is the same thing which we can use to highlight unused rules. Okay. Fine. Next, let's talk about objects. Okay. And again, this is nothing special in Palo Alto. Like all of the different firewalls have objects in them. Okay. It depends on firewall to firewall, like what kind of objects you can have, but like all of them have this concept of object. Okay. I'll give you the basic idea of an object. Okay. First, before we jump into specific. See,
Sudhanshu sir, I have one small
yeah,
question. Uh,
yeah, tell me.
in a panorama, suppose if we
Mhm,
connect with our firewall, so
mhm.
can we see the configuration policies on panorama?
Can we?
See the configurations, policy configurations.
Yeah, you can absolutely see the configurations on Panorama. It's just like, see, I showed you here.
Yeah. Okay.
Here, they have given you the option of selecting a device group and then specifying and checking out what rules are applicable there. So it will just show you like this. So you see, all the major options are same: general, source, user, destination, application, service, UI, action. This is the option there because we don't have to specify it in a firewall, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to specify which firewalls this rule is applicable only on Panorama.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So we can create them. Yeah.
So according to like we can move also the firewall rules from
See,
the.
no. There will be local rules, okay, on the firewall. This you, if you want to modify, you will have to take access of firewall. What you can modify is rules pushed through Panorama. The pre-rules or the post rules.
Yes.
If you want to modify this, then take access of this firewall.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So if somebody asks, can we make a change in the security policy? Yeah, we can make. Can we, override these? Yeah, we can override by making a free rule. But we don't alter these, right? We for altering these, we have to take access of firewall. Okay. So I was telling you the concept of object. Okay, and this is applicable for all the firewalls. See, sometimes what we have to do is we have to mention some configurations or some not configurations, like some uh, things again and again. Like maybe, and suppose I have a server which is having an IP of 10.0.2.11. Okay, and I have lot of places where I need to mention this IP address of server again and again and again. Okay. Now, instead of mentioning the IP address again and again at various security policies, decryption, or whatever I'm creating, what I can do is I can create an object of it, give it a name, okay, and reference this again and again. Okay, like suppose I want it in some security policy, okay, as a source. Then I don't mention the IP address there. I just reference this IP and it automatically knows which IP I'm talking about. Suppose I want to do similar thing for QS, okay, as a source or destination. Then again, I just mention the name, okay. So it's like basically removing the uh, habit of having mentioning IP address here, because if you mention individual IP addresses, it's not just for IP address, it's for various things. But if you keep mentioning IP addresses again and again and again, there is a slight chances that you might make a mistake. And some of the address objects uh, are easy to specify, but some of them might be like ranges of IP address. Okay, like I want to say like 10.0.2.1 to 10.0.2.10, okay, or 10.100, something like that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you can create objects once and reuse them into all these different policies. So first, let's talk about the address object here. Okay. Uh, if represents one or more IP address, if you go to objects addresses, you add here, you can mention uh, either IP and net mask. Okay, you see here, you can mention an IP address here, or you can mention a range, or also you could mention a FQDN, like maybe I have a server uh, whose name I want to mention, like maybe something like host.imeditor.com. Okay, I don't remember the IP. Okay, you can mention even that. Fine. So used in security policy destination, source destination address field, you can have these three types of address objects. Okay. Let me show you. Okay. Like suppose I want to utilize this Win2 and Win3 again and again. I can simply go to objects, address, create these address objects. So like, okay, let's say Win2. Okay. Well, we can have more. Okay. Now, sometimes you might create different ranges, like suppose, okay, I call this maybe inside subnet. and I say 10.0.1.0/24. Okay. Not IP range, IPNet mask. IP range is like when you mention something like from 10.0.1.0 to this. Okay. So